Our vision is really what we call a smarter markets vision. So we want to launch markets with better benchmarks, so better benchmark contracts, better tools, better technology to meet the needs of commercial participants. MineHub is a great example. How do you get companies' supply chains off of emails and spreadsheets and digitized onto a platform? Even in the commodity markets, people care much more today about where their commodities are coming from. What country was it produced in? Under what conditions? What's the carbon footprint? And unless you have strong, verifiable records of where that commodity went through, you can't price it accordingly. So that producers who produce in a way that's considered more responsible by the buyers, that's considered to have a lower carbon footprint by the buyers, that they have that information in a trustworthy, verifiable way so that they can pay a premium for that if that's what they want in their commodity.
How is the launch of the Abaxx Exchange and clearinghouse going?
We launched and went live in June of this year. So we're fully regulated and licensed by the Monetary Authority of Singapore as a futures exchange and clearinghouse, an RMO and an ACH. And really since June, what we've been doing is building up that essential connectivity that we need to reach all the clients in the market. So we've been bringing on clearing firms and, we've had great success there. StoneX, KGI were our first two clearing members. In recent weeks, we've brought on Mizuho and ADM, Investor Services, as more clearing firms. And to me, that kind of has helped us reach the threshold of connectivity that we can really start to get traders participating in our markets. So even though we launched in June, I almost feel like we kind of really went live over the past couple of weeks. We've had some great first trades that we've been able to announce to the press. So we've had Mercuria did 2 large block trades in our carbon offset contracts, and we've had block trades in our Gulf of Mexico LNG contracts as well. So we're continuing to build out the connectivity, and then on top of that, get more trading firms onboarded, and then we can start to build liquidity and volumes.
What are the key features of the LNG, carbon, and nickel sulfate contracts?
When we looked out at the commodity markets, what we saw was there was a real sea change occurring in the commodities that were being traded in the physical markets. So everyone talks about the energy transition, but when you think about what that means, it means the commodities we'll be trading over the next 10 years are going to be very different from the ones we traded over the past few decades. So we saw a big need for contracts like liquefied natural gas, which is really becoming a way to globalize the natural gas market and create a transition fuel to get people off of coal, off of petroleum products, a need for a price on carbon so we can incentivize carbon reductions and removals, curtail the use of fossil fuels where they're not needed. And so part of what we're bringing to the market are new markets in commodities. I think everyone saw the issues that the LME had with their nickel contract, because that nickel contract was geared towards nickel used in stainless steel. Now people are using nickel for battery metals, so you need a different commodity underlying that spec. And we didn't see the market moving in that direction quickly enough. And the second is really physically deliverable contracts. I think there's a place in the futures markets for cash settled, financially settled contracts. But I think over the past 10 years or more, it's kind of become the only choice. And as we talked to commercial participants in the market, what they wanted were physically deliverable contracts for their commodities. So that's really what we focused on.
What technological advancements are integrated into the exchange platform?
With our first platform, as we launched the exchange and clearinghouse, we made a very intentional effort to not build too much new technology into it. We wanted to meet the market where it was with a exchange and clearinghouse that they could connect to very quickly. So we made a choice not to add too many bells and whistles, but to make it what the regulators were accustomed to, what trading firms were accustomed to, what clearing firms were accustomed to. Because we were starting from scratch, we were able to build without having to deal with legacy infrastructure that had been held together with Band-Aids over 10, 20 years. So our infrastructure is all cloud native, which has made it very easy for multiple firms, ISVs, clearing firms, trading firms, to connect because we're able to launch the exchange with a state-of-the-art platform.
What strategies are in place to ensure sufficient liquidity?
The first thing is having a good product. Now, every product that we launch is the result of a great deal of collaboration with market participants. So we just don't sit back and think about what should we launch next. It's being at conferences like this, being involved with the industry every day, having working groups talking through what they need next. You know, when we started with LNG, we were talking with a lot of LNG firms, and they were telling us, oh, you need to talk to people about carbon because I got a guy trading carbon sitting next to me. That got us thinking about carbon. We had one of the largest mining companies in the world come to us to talk about nickel because they liked what we were doing in LNG and carbon, and said the nickel market needs a new contract. So it starts with having a good product and one that meets the needs of the market, and we're in constant conversations with the market to develop those products. I think the next piece then is, you know, you always have to build liquidity. And we've been really fortunate to have strong relationships with our clearing firms and with market maker firms and with trading firms. So, you know, we're running all the typical incentive programs you would like. So if you're going to help us build liquidity and get these markets launched, we're going to do everything we can to make that worth your while, because that's what it takes to go from, you know, zero volume to benchmark status in the contracts, and that's our ambition.